All right, y'all, let's break down general manager as far as I see it. It's something that I've been very vocal about. I think Tennessee absolutely has got to go out and add a general manager to kind of fill all these roles that I'm going to highlight right here. And also, man, I feel like Coach Heupel would love to have a real, true GM. I don't think that he's going to be, against that by any means, as long as the GM can't fire him. I don't think that he would have a problem with a GM that operates this way because it's taking work off of his desk. It's taking stress off of his shoulders. It really is going to ultimately, I think, be up to Danny White. Does Danny White feel like Tennessee has the funds to go out and add a general manager and give them the proper resources that they need for us to be able to succeed at the highest levels? So for me, if I was general manager or, for any general manager that I want for Tennessee to go out and target, I want for their goals to look something like this. Number one, you got to know Heupel's type. What type of players does he want to bring in, to this team, right? Like, from their personality, from their size to their skill sets, all of that. I think that the general manager needs to be pretty much like Coach Heupel's right-hand person. You're with Coach Heupel all the time so that you can get an even more in-depth feel for exactly what they're looking for what irks him, for, what he loves. So then that way you can give him a good list of things or players and all of that for him to kind of choose from, because I think that the final say so should be with Coach Heupel on who we're going to add and who we're going to let walk. So number two for me is that the general manager and their whole team need to be able to ID the core players on Tennessee's roster currently. Again, that's going to pretty much come from Coach Heupel. He's going to tell you, hey, this is the nucleus of this football team. These are the guys that we want to hold on to pretty much at all costs. So you do that first, then you got to be able to ID the players that are thinking about leaving. This is where I think a general manager will come in just so much handy. Like they will, come in clutch, because we need to understand, how do these players feel? And you could also have the general manager or some people on the general manager's team that are just kind of like, hey, y'all can come inside of our office and voice all of your thoughts. Like, give us all of your grievances. And then from there, you can get a very realistic look at, hey, man, this player's not happy with this, that, and da-da-da-da-da. And then you can give a very nice, concise list to Coach Heupel and say, hey, this is where the issues are. Can we get this fixed, or does this player need to go? Whatever. And then after that, at number four, obviously, you've got to be able to identify the future players from the high school ranks, from the transfer portal ranks. We're going to break down how that looks in just a minute once we get to the actual structure of things. Number five, okay, we have to assign a value to every player that's on our roster, and then you want to try to restructure contracts, I feel like, as much as possible. And the reason that I'm saying that is, if Tennessee's put too much money onto our current roster and we don't have enough to go out and spend and allocate funds to add some new players, and if somebody leaves, all of a sudden we're just in a messed up spot, then these contracts are messed up and they need to get restructured so that we've got enough money to kind of play with, while also keeping players happy. And then for number six, we need to be able to raise money. Now, I know that Tennessee's already got, like several different areas of, different sports and all of that are going out raising money, but you can never have too much money. You never have enough money. So you need to find more ways to raise money. So if I'm the GM, part of what I'm going to have, as y'all can see, we're looking at the structure. Number two, we're going to have a daggum fundraising team. Okay. Like, we're going to have a team. I don't know how many people, but just because I don't know how many people they're going to give to me, but I'll just say two. I mean, shoot, we're going to have two people going out and finding some extra ways to build up money, whether you make a whole different social media page or whatever. You find ways to make it work, because right now, Tennessee, I don't think, has enough money, like not even close. So number one, though, we need a finance team. I would say two people would be more than enough for me. It could be me and somebody else, or you could give me two people that are just live in finance and understand it very, very well. I would personally like to have people that have operated, with the pro team, that understand how the finances work. They don't have to have been the guy there, guy or gal there, but as long as they can see, or as long as they have seen how things look, how that structure works, and they will help us with that, because you need to know how much money are you allocating here, how much money do you have left, and everything needs to make sense. So that would be number one. The finance team is critical. That's huge. Fundraising team for me is number three. I'm sorry, is number two. And then number three for me, we're going to have two separate teams. So that's 3 and 4. Team A, okay, they're 100% going to be focused on high school recruiting, on high school players. And I want to start off in 8th grade. I want for them to, and of course, I have a team of 5 here, but Tennessee might even have more than that already working on high school. If they've got more, then that's even better. Either way, number one, I want a list from every single state. You can go up to 20, the top 20 players in every single state that are 8th graders. That's where we're starting off at. You got to get to know those players. You got to get to know, their family and all of that. We're going to watch them very, very closely. That's where the list that we're sending to those coaches starts off at. They're going to get the rising 8th grade. So, like, let's just say Coming up for this year, the freshmen would be the 2029 class. Team A would have a list of 20 players from every state, especially from our key states, which we're focusing on the South mostly because we don't got to go too far. There's plenty of talent here. If you can't find talent here, something's wrong with you. But we're gonna try, 20 top 20 for every single state. For the 2029 class, the coaches, okay, starting off with Coach Heupel, he's gonna have a list of all the top players in every single state. He's gonna have a list of what schools do they go to, who their parents are, all of that type of stuff. That's how it starts off. That's when you start to send out those letters and questionnaires and all of that. And obviously, whenever those coaches are hitting that road, those are the players that they're going to be going to first. And obviously, that list is going to grow from there. You're just watching them closely. That's just a watch list. All right. So after that, once the players are older, right? So from once they start to get agents, which now you could get an agent, as a daggum freshman, but once they start to get those agents, then that high school team, that team A, they need to know those agents very, very well. You need to know the agents that have the most clients, that have the best clients, and you need to be very close with them. Obviously, you have to be close with these high school coaches. You have to be close with, like we said, family members or whoever, everybody. You've got to have that list kind of set up, and you've got to keep that thing going, right? So from eighth grade all the way to the time that they sign, whether that's with Tennessee or not, okay, they're going to be keeping track of these players, and obviously with the information that they're kind of like gathering up, you're giving that information to the coaches to help them be able to close out on those players. It's the coach's job to close out on these players, but we're just here to give them that information. So obviously, with the high school, with that team A, they also need to know how much are these players asking for. What's the going rate? How's the market going to change moving forward? And then talking about team B, right? So like, let's just say we followed a player from eighth grade all the way up to signing day. They didn't sign with Tennessee, okay, or they did sign with Tennessee. Either way, it does not matter. You're going to give all that information that you gained from eighth grade all the way up to signing day. You're going to pass that off to team B. That's where team B starts at. They're starting at, hey, okay, we know how this player looks. We know what they liked, what they didn't like. We know who their agent is. We know about their coaches. We know about their family members, everything. Guess what team B's doing? From the time that those players sign all the way to the time that they graduate or go on to the next level or stop playing football, whatever. We are going to be talking to their agents. We're going to be checking in on them, okay? We're still recruiting them. You can't do it, player to player, but you can do it agent to, one of the people that I have on my team. You can do it that way. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Is that tampering? You're damn right it is. Do I care? No, I don't, because everyone else is doing the exact same thing. And so see, this way, whenever you're keeping tabs on these players and you know them, on this level, now all of a sudden, if we get into a situation, and we will be looking at those numbers here in just a second, but once we get into a situation where, man, we've got a player that's trying to leave us now, who are we going to be able to find here? Okay, we've got a short list, coach. What? Doesn't matter. Safety, linebacker, cornerback, whatever. Offensive line. What do you want? Center, guard, tackle. How you want them to look? You want them to be more pass blocking specialists? You want to be more run blocking specialists? Are y'all switching up schemes? Is this going to be more man blocking? Is it more outside zone blocking? We're going to have all that stuff down to a T. We're going to have a short list of players that we've already been in contact with that we know, hey, listen, well, we understand what their number is, what it's going to take to be able to get them in. And Coach Heupel has a very realistic and feasible understanding of, what, maybe we can't let this player go from our current roster. We got to pay them a little bit more because it's going to cost us too much to go add somebody else. So that brings us to the allocation of our funds. And I base this off of what the NFL teams do. There's going to be some differences here. So for NFL teams, they're putting about 2% to their special teams, but their special teams is set up differently. Like they have like a whole roster of special teams players, right? So for college, all you're going to have is like kickers, punters, long snappers. So I think $150,000 might actually be too much. So you could probably take that down some, but we're just trying to work with some even numbers here. Y'all can see that the salary cap, I have set at $30 million. Now that's not a true hard salary cap. That's just how much money I think Tennessee's going to have to actually work with. So you can see up under that how I broke that down. With the NIL, I think last season we were at like 13 million. That's what I read somewhere. Could be more than that, could be less. As far as the revenue sharing, I would say at least 17 million needs to go to the football team, if not more. So again, we're just trying to work with some even numbers here and just make it easy for us to like grasp these concepts. So this is what I would give to Coach Heupel. I say, this is how I see things being allocated, but what do you see? So we can start it off with quarterback. And, I have that valued at 15%. He might say, well, no, quarterback should be at 20%. Okay, done. We're just going to do whatever he wants to do with that. But I want for him to have a nice, easy cheat sheet so that he can, see this stuff a lot easier. He probably already has something very similar to this, but this is the way that I would try to organize it. Now, the only thing that I'm not going to budge on is down at the very, very bottom. I think that we need at least 3.5% just saved up just in case, because the situation that Tennessee just got in where, man, look, we can't pay these players that are trying to get some more money at these key spots and we can't go add anybody else. That's a bad spot for you to be in. You do not want to be there. So 3.5% for me, that's the floor. Now, NFL teams are going to be anywhere from 2 to like 5%. If he wants to go down, I'm gonna say no, we really can't go down, but we can go up to about 5. And if he wants to do more than that, I say, okay, well, that's pretty much on you. Like, just make sure that we have enough to get these players paid, at the market value. So starting off at quarterback, let's just say that Coach Heupel says, oh yeah, this looks perfect. So quarterbacks at 15%, that's 4.5 million for probably 3 quarterbacks, like 3 scholarship quarterbacks. Now, Tennessee has gotten away with only having 2 scholarship quarterbacks in some situations, but I think that you want to have 3. So however you want to split that up, maybe you say, hey, of that 4.5 million, I want, about 50% of that to go to the starter. If Coach Heupel says that, then that's what we're going to do. It's up to him. He can spend the money however he wants to. Even if he says, hey, we're going to spend the whole $4.5 million on just one player, then that's for him to, he can choose that. So coming on down to the offensive and defensive lines, y'all can see that that's at 17%. Every single program should have that valued at the highest, because let's just say in a situation like what we're walking into now, we know that the offensive line is going to be really, really good. Or at least that's what we think. Like, the offensive line should be very good. We're not sure about the quarterback, but I've given Tennessee some wins based off of the fact that, hey, if the offensive line is good, we're going to be able to run the football. So, that's why the offensive line, defensive line has to be good, because same thing can be said about that D-line. If you can stop the run with those 4 up front, if you're getting pressure with those 4 up front, then you can do whatever the heck you want. And, after that, like the second and third level will not matter as much. So that's why you want to allocate so many funds there. But you also have to look at how many players you're going to have at those spots, which is why you're going to need some more money. And you can already see why, coming all the way down to the bottom, we could get into a situation where, let's just say, we brought some players up that were freshmen. They stayed with us. We'll just say that they're second-year guys. They're second-year guys. They turn into absolute studs. We feel like, hey, we can let some of these veterans go that are asking for too much money. That aren't going to be as good as these sophomores, these second-year players. But, hey, maybe they're asking for some more money too. So with that money that we have kind of set to the side, you can take some out of that bucket to make sure that those new players are getting paid that market value. So as y'all can probably tell, some of y'all maybe can't tell, but I'll just tell you that, yeah, some of this stuff, these funds, I mean, even with $30 million, you can still see why you need more. I think Tennessee should really be at, I'm going to say at least 40 million. If we want to be up there where, we feel very confident that, hey, we've got the roster that can make it to the college football playoffs, it might take about 40 million, honestly speaking, just the way that things are kind of shaping out. But anyway, that's how I would allocate funds there. Obviously, man, like, you want to try to pay those veterans more than the underclassmen. That's a bad spot that Tennessee's got into now, where we are, kind of feels like maybe we're paying some of these underclassmen more than those veterans. That's how you get into a real sticky situation, because, older guys don't want to get paid less than those younger guys. You know what I mean? But obviously, if you've got a younger guy that's older, like we just talked about, or I'm sorry, that's not older, but that's better, like we just talked about, then yes, it's worth it. And you say, hey, it's okay if we have to let this player walk. So this, as far as wide receivers at 13%, that's about $4 million that we have to allocate there. Same thing. We're going to say pretty much the same thing for all these spots. You really only need to shoot. If you've got 2 studs and you've got some underclassmen that you feel like they're going to turn into studs, you can hold on to them, right? Like, you can pay them at about market value, and everyone stays happy. So running backs and tight ends, that's pretty low. But Heupel might actually want to push it up for the ends there, just because he really values those ends, and we like to hold at least 4 of them. So $900,000. We don't know, will that stretch? If you've got a guy that's a real stud, then might not work. Like, that 900,000 might be everything for just that one player. Again, that's when you come back down to the bottom. All right, we got to fork over, more of this money. If it's $200,000, $300,000, just to make sure that the current roster that we have can stay intact with these studs, then that's what you got to do first and foremost. Running backs is kind of a dime a dozen thing. I know that there are some backs that are making a bunch of money, that are making over $500,000. So maybe you can pay one of those guys that, but for the most part, they're going to be closer to, like lower 6 figures, like 100,000, 120,000, something like that. And so I think that we could definitely get by with that being at the market value. As far as the linebackers, I've got that at 8%. You're going to hold on to, I mean, shoot, you probably want to have, I'm gonna say at least 6 to 7 linebackers. So that money's probably gonna stretch. Like I think that the market value there, it's not crazy. So I think that we should be fine there. Again, you pay those veterans first, or you pay those studs first, and then cornerbacks. There's a lot of cornerbacks. It's probably gonna be as many cornerbacks as it is wide receivers. So we're talking for the wide receiver room. I would like for it to be at least 9 to probably like 11 players. And for cornerbacks, very, very close. I'd say, probably you could probably get away with about 8, 8 to probably 10. So you're having to spread that money out. In the situation that Tennessee's in right now, where we've got potentially 2 top 10 cornerbacks in all of college football coming up for next season, they're going to get paid. So you got to pay those guys first, but really the top 4 so you want to focus on just in case. And then, after that, those young guys, they got to get paid a little bit less, right? So after that, star's pretty big for Tennessee. We only hold about 3 to 4 stars, so that money stretches further. I think I think that we're probably fine there at about 3%. Safety, you want to have really good safety play. You want to pay those older guys, those better guys first. So, I think that 2.1 million, that should be good. You're probably going to carry about, I'm going to say about 7 to 8 safeties, so you're stretching it out that way. And then special teams, we've kind of already talked about that. So this is the way that I would try to get things organized. And again, man, you're just leaning on what Coach Heupel thinks. You're just making it easier for him not to have to do too much thinking. But I think that if we could find somebody that could get things organized like this, where we can set some money to the side, have some people that understand what the current market is, how the market's going to change, and all of that, then listen, we can get things done, even if it is just with 30 million. I think that we can get it done. That's where, hey, we don't have as much money as some of these other programs, but we're going to outcoach the heck out of them. That's a coach's job, right? So we're here just to make the coach's job easier and to help us to put out the best product that we possibly can on Saturdays. But those are my thoughts, man. Please share yours with me down in the comment section. And that's it for the show. So as always, please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks. Peace. Thanks for watching, and please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel because that keeps us growing inside of the YouTube algorithm. And if you did like this video, here's another one that you might also enjoy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.